Hello, first and second graders. Yesterday, we talked about fairy tales. Remember, a fairy tale is a fictional story, like a princess story or like Little Red Riding Hood, that has good versus evil in it. In Little Red Riding Hood is good and the wolf is evil. Fairy tales also usually have once upon a time. They don't always, but a lot of the times they do. There's numbers of 3 or 7, talking animals, like in Little Red Riding Hood. There's a talking wolf. Magic, sometimes. Royalty, like in a princess fairy tale. And lessons. The story will usually teach a lesson. Yesterday, you read or listened to The Three Little Pigs, and you were able to give me some examples of how it is a fractured fairy tale, or sorry, not a fractured fairy tale, just a fairy tale. But today, we're going to talk about fractured fairy tales. Fractured fairy tales involve the author making a change. So yesterday, you listened to The Three Little Pigs, and today, we're going to listen to The Three Little Wolves. Already, you can tell that there's a change that's been made. The story is a fractured fairy tale. They might change the characters. They might change the setting. That's where the book takes place. They might change the major events that happen. The reason that they do that is because it's fun. So they'll change up the story to make it funny, and sometimes they'll do it just to teach a different lesson. Now listen as we're going to read The Three Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig. Once upon a time, there were 3 cuddly little wolves with soft fur and fluffy tails who lived with their mother. The first was black, the second was gray, and the third was white. One day, the mother called the 3 little wolves around her and said, "My children, it is time for you to go out into the world. Go and build a house for yourselves, but beware of the big, bad pig." "Don't worry, Mother, we'll watch out for him," said the 3 little wolves. And off they went. Soon, they met a kangaroo who was pushing a wheelbarrow full of yellow bricks. "Please, will you give us some of your bricks?" asked the 3 little wolves. "Certainly," said the kangaroo, and she gave them lots of red and yellow bricks. So the 3 little wolves built themselves a house of bricks. The very next day, a big, bad pig came, prowling down the road, and saw the house of bricks that the wolves had built. The 3 little wolves were playing croquet in the garden. Croquet is this game here. They were playing croquet in the garden. When they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside the house and locked the door. Good, evil. The pig knocked on the door and grunted, little wolves, let me in." "No, no, no," said the 3 little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot." "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. So he huffed and he puffed and he huffed, but the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and fetched his sledgehammer, and he knocked that house down. The 3 little wolves only just managed to escape before the bricks crumbled, and they were very frightened indeed. "We shall have to build a stronger house," they said. Just then they saw a beaver who was mixing concrete in a concrete mixer. "Please, will you give us some of your concrete?" asked the 3 little wolves. "Certainly," said the beaver, and he gave them buckets and buckets full of messy concrete. So the three little wolves built themselves a house of concrete. No sooner had they finished than the big bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of concrete that the little wolves had built. They were playing battledore and shuttlecock in the garden, and when they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside their house and shut the door. The pig rang the bell and said, "Little frightened wolves, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the three little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chin, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot." "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed. But the house didn't fall down. Why do you think this house didn't fall down? Probably because it's made out of concrete. It's a lot stronger than sticks and bricks and mud and hay and straw. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and fetched his pneumatic drill and smashed the house down. The three little wolves managed to escape, but their chinny chin chins were trembling and trembling. "We shall build even stronger house," they said, because they were very determined. Just then they saw a truck coming along the road carrying barbed wire, iron bars, armor plates, and heavy metal padlocks. "Please, will you give us some of your barbed wire, a few iron bars and armor plates, and some heavy metal padlocks?" they said to the rhinoceros who was driving the truck. "Sure," said the rhinoceros, and he gave them plenty of barbed wire, iron bars, armor plates, and heavy metal padlocks. He also gave them some plexiglass and some reinforced steel chains because he was a generous and kind-hearted rhinoceros. So the three little wolves built themselves an extremely strong house. It was possibly the strongest, securest house one could possibly imagine. They felt absolutely safe. Now, your vocab word for today is secure. What did the wolves do to secure their house? There is a safety pin on here because sometimes when people want their clothes to stay a certain way, they'll put a safety pin on them to secure their clothes in place so that they don't move. What did the wolves do to secure their house in place? The next day, the big bad pig came prowling along the road as usual. The three little wolves were playing hopscotch in the garden. When they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside their house, bolted the door, and locked all the 37 padlocks. The pig dialed the video entrance phone and said, "Little frightened wolves with the trembling chins, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot." "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, but the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He brought some dynamite, laid it against the house, and the house blew up. The three little wolves just managed to escape with their fluffy tails scorched. "Something must be wrong with our building materials," they said. "We have to try something different. But what?" At that moment, they saw a flamingo coming along pushing a wheelbarrow full of flowers. "Please, will you give us some flowers?" asked the little wolves. "With pleasure," said the flamingo, and he gave them lots of flowers. So the three little wolves built themselves a house made of flowers. Now, do you think that dynamite could blow up a house of flowers? Do you think that huffing and puffing could blow up down a house of flowers? It's certainly not as strong as their plexiglass home. One wall was made of marigolds, one of daffodils, one of pink roses, and one of cherry blossoms. The ceiling was made of sunflowers, and the floor was a carpet of daisies. They had water lilies in their bathtub and buttercups in the refrigerator. It was a rather fragile house, and it swayed in the wind, but it was very beautiful. Next day, the big bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of flowers that the three little wolves had built. He rang the doorbell and said, "Little frightened wolves with the trembling chins and the scorched tails, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the three little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot." "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. But he took a deep breath, ready to huff and puff, and he smelled the soft scent of the flowers. It was fantastic, and because the scent was so lovely, the pig took another breath, and then another. Instead of huffing and puffing, he began to sniff. He sniffed deeper and deeper until he was quite filled with the fragrant scent. His heart grew tender, and he realized how horrible he had been. Right then, he decided to become a big, good pig. He started to sing and to dance the tarantella. I like this wolf's face here. He's thinking, what is going on? At first, the three little wolves were a little bit worried. It might be a trick. But soon they realized that the pig truly had changed, so they came running out of the house. They started playing games with him. First they played Pig Pog, and then Piggy in the Middle. And when they were all tired, they invited him into the house. What do you think the pig is going to do when he's inside the house? They offered him tea and strawberries and wolfberries and asked him to stay with them as long as he wanted. The pig accepted, and they all lived happily together ever after. The end. Now, there were a lot of changes in this book. For your assignment and what you record, I want you to find this sheet. Don't forget to do your vocab too. This sheet. It says, focus on the changes that the author made to the original Three Little Pigs. How did this add humor? So find a change in the story and write about how it made it more funny. What change did the author make, and how did it add humor or make it funny to the story? Do this, and I want you to record yourself saying one thing that the author changed to, and if you liked it or if you didn't like it. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.